I'm Myke Shrews.
And I'm Tivis.
And you're listening to
The Munster Cast,
episode 18. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Munster Cast, the podcast where we watch and discuss the Munsters weekly. It's Munster Monday, everybody. Enjoy.
Yeah.
Tivis, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing all right.
All righty. Any fun new things going on?
No.
Okay.
Nothing fun.
No.
That's for sure.
There's never anything fun going on, right? All right, so welcome back, everybody, again to the Munster Cast. If you want to follow us, contact us, do anything like that, we are on all the socials at TheMunsterCast, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, all the Munster Cast. And you can also reach out to us with any questions, comments, critiques, just want to chat. At TheMunsterCast@outlook.com. That's TheMunsterCast@outlook.com. And we're pretty good at getting back to everybody, like almost instantly, now that we have gotten both of us connected to the email. Sorry, not internet.
Yeah, nope, still not connected to the Twitter, but that's okay.
Oh, I gotta get you there. All right. In that case, anyways, let's go on into this week's episode. We are on episode 18 for our show, which is episodes 34 and 35.
4 and 35.
Awesome. So we're almost done with season 1, man. Are you sad or excited or?
I'm excited. Heading into season 2, and then we get to these movies, which
I
don't know. There's only been one episode that I have not enjoyed, and the rest has been a wonderful ride. And today is going to be much better than last week.
Awesome. Sounds good, man. Well, why don't you start us off then with episode 34?
All right. Munster the Magnificent, season 1, episode 34, aired May 13th, 1965, written by James Alderite. Nope, went into Star Wars. James Allardyce, Tom Adair, and Norm Lieberman was also involved. Directed by Norman Abbott, who's back.
He's back.
Guests this week include Dave Ketchum as the Master of Ceremonies. And this guy went on, his most famous role was Agent 13 on Get Smart, but he went on to write for many episodes of Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley, The Love Boat, and he also directed 2 episodes of Who's Watching the Kids.
Okay.
Stuart Nisbet as the second father, and Eddie Ryder as the first father, who during this appearance, he played a reoccurring character called Dr. Simon Edgursky on a show called Dr. Kildare. I'm not familiar with it, but it aired from 1961 to 65. So anyone from familiar with that show may recognize him.
Now, are these fathers, are they supposed to be the fathers in the audience? Is that father 1, father 2? I'm assuming,
because
they're the only ones that really had screen time. There was a father that walked off stage, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, that's. I couldn't tell you. They don't have photographs.
Okay, cool. All right. Anything else?
That's it.
That's it for episode 34. All right, we're done. We're moving on to episode 30. No. All right. So episode 34, Munster the Magnificent, as Tivis already said, May 13th, 1965. Eddie volunteers Herman as a performer for his school's talent night. Since Herman has no discernible talent, Grandpa conjures up a pair of magic ballet shoes that will make him a gifted dancer, but Eddie has already billed him as the magic act. So now Herman has to figure out what he's going to do. Episode 34.
So we open up with the family sitting around for dinner, and it's two fish stuck together with the heads cut off.
The double-ended butt fish, as I wrote down in my notes. And it catches on fire instantly as they pull off the lid for the platter.
Yeah. Almost like it's an abomination against nature. Like the turducken.
I've had turducken. That's pretty cool.
My buddy affectionately refers to that as bird hell. So Eddie comes in with an announcement. The talent night is this Saturday in his school gym, where someone volunteers someone from each family to perform a task, which I think is a bit rude.
Yeah, and they're supposed to, like, they don't ask nothing. It's just
he's just like, hey, you're going to do a performance.
Right.
So Grandpa thinks Eddie picked him, but Eddie's like, no, I want my dad to do it. Grandpa's not happy.
No.
I feel like this is the quickest cold open that we've seen.
Maybe. Yeah.
So we're already jumping to credits.
Yeah.
So
we jump right into the credits, and then we come back, and this is when they start to do did he decide already what he was going to do, his talent was going to be?
He walks into the living room with some sheet music, and Grandpa gives him the dirtiest of looks, and Herman just gives it right back and goes to the organ. Grandpa's attempting to drink some tea, but Herman starts singing horribly, and he spills it all over himself.
Yeah. And then we have them sit down. They do like a little interaction back and forth. After the living room fills up with dust again.
Yeah, from the organ.
From the organ every time. And then Lily runs in. She's trying to figure out what's going on with Herman. And Grandpa's just like, he's just fucking around, basically. He's just like, he doesn't know what he's doing.
He's so mean to Herman after he's jealous that he got picked. It wasn't picked first off.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, you plan to sing? Why would you do that? You're so horrible.
Yeah. Well, then we jump down to Grandpa goes with Lily.
Well, hold on.
That's
Don't forget, Herman's singing causes an earthquake.
Yes.
And the lamp next to Grandpa shorts out, and Lily rushes into the room.
That's when Lily runs into the room. Okay, she's trying to figure out what happened, and then that's when Grandpa gives his little smart ass remark again, as he always does.
Your husband stuck the thing.
Yeah. And then they go down to the lab for the first time in the episode.
Yeah.
This is where Grandpa is basically like, I think I'm going to do something that's against the current trend of father-in-laws nowadays, and actually be nice to my son-in-law for once.
No, he's not.
He tries. He does try.
I have a sneaking suspicion that he does not try, and actually, we'll get into that.
In action, it looks like he's trying. So it's just until later. So
I just opened up the Google Help screen on accident.
Grandpa goes down and pulls out these shoes, like these magical ballerina shoes that he has, that are just in this like black little closet curtained off area in the lab. So he's having these for a while.
As soon as I saw these, but let's not forget that this little area also was where he was hiding the robot like months ago.
Yeah.
But as soon as I saw these, I'm like, I know where this is going. I've seen this episode of the Aladdin cartoon series.
Well, not only that, he ends up going over back before. So like the shoes don't have any actual magical properties to them.
Which is where this differs from that old not myth, legend. What's the tall tale? Maybe this is clearly based on the old story of the shoes that will never allow you to stop dancing.
Okay, yeah. So he walks over. He has this whole table lined up. Every episode, Grandpa has whatever it is that they absolutely need at the exact time laid out on his desk. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, he would have like 5 billion desks by now laid out. But he has like a whole thing of like, oh, this is like, ballet dancing, tap dancing, like
old. I have everything that's on the table.
Yeah.
Ballet, old soft shoe, Mexican hat, and twist.
I wanted to see them put the Mexican hat on Herman, like the dancing.
And he talks about, he's like, okay, here's how you do this. You take this magic dancing powder, you sprinkle it on the shoe. That's it.
Yeah. That's all you do. Just sprinkle it on there.
Yeah. And the shoes do the work for you.
I hope it works. And then we get a little cute thing of the shoes dancing by themselves, which I'm assuming they put them on sticks, maybe to make them move.
Had to, yeah. It was really well done. Though. Yeah. I'll give them. I couldn't. I mean, we could take a guess, but I couldn't tell how they were doing it, and then that's real good.
Yeah. At first, I thought, oh, maybe someone with black gloves is holding them and doing that, but I was like, no, they'd push into the shoe. So, anyway, then we go after the shoes are done dancing, and they curtsy and they fall down, and we go to Grandpa putting the shoes on Herman. They are not the same shoes.
And he just puts them over Herman's shoe.
Yeah.
Which Herman's real unhappy about it. He's real worried about what people think. He doesn't want people to think that he's a communist.
I'm sorry. It's funny. I don't know how you attribute ballet to communism, but okay. I guess back in the 60s, like everything was communist this and communist that. So
yeah, the Red Scare.
Yeah. It did make me laugh.
That is not what I expected him to go, but I'm glad they went that route instead of the other direction.
Yeah. At least this route, some people could still say it holds up. So
yeah.
If you can attribute ballet to that, but okay. Anyway, so then Herman sees the different things. He's like not really into it yet, but Grandpa shows him, oh, look, we got these. Grandpa
he's like, which one do you want?
Yeah. So Grandpa sprinkles them on.
Do you remember which one he picks?
I do not.
He picks the old soft shoe, and then Grandpa adds in a little Indian rain dance because of the recent dry spell, and why not?
It's just like they're like seasoning his feet. That's all it looks like. It's kind of funny. And then after that, Herman eventually gets up.
Like almost immediately, he bolts straight up and begins doing a ballet. And
not only are his feet doing the action really badly, by the way, but his arms are even doing like the whole thing, everything. He's going up and down and on top of tables and stuff. And I'm like, Herman breaks everything just by putting his fist on it. How is he not breaking everything else right now?
Oh, it's funny you mention that because he busts through the front door.
Yeah.
And at this point, he's having the time of his life. He's laughing. Like, I'm like, oh, he's actually enjoying himself now. That's nice to see.
He doesn't look like he's like grumpy about it or nothing like that. He's actually smiling on his face the whole time. And then he ends up dipping out, and well, not dipping out, but
he
dancing
floats
out
over the wall.
Yes. I don't know how the shoe did that, but okay. He floats over the fence, yeah, and then he ends up going down the street, and Lily's like, well, how long does this last? And Grandpa's like, well, about 3 hours.
2 to 3. That's an answer to everything.
And she's like, well, I guess on the upside, he'll be home for lunch. That's all.
And then it begins
down, nothing.
Then it begins raining, and Grandpa's like, oh, hey, it wasn't a total loss. I have to wonder how much he enjoyed that scene, though.
Being able to do something else, yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if they lightened up his padding then for him to be able to move like that, because usually
they had to.
Stiff.
He's so stiff.
Because of all the heavy padding. So they had to have done something for him to be able to move his legs the way they did, and arms and everything. They
speed up his footage too, so you have to wonder if that's to hide something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or how many times he's like, motherfucker, this is our or how many times he fell down on the ground. There's a reason Butch wasn't in that scene. They didn't want him to hear Herman cussing.
So Herman's back home, and he's soaking his boots in water.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to take him off and make him look shorter.
Well, no, that the ballet shoes supposedly are what.
Yeah, but I mean, when you soak your feet, you take your shoes off.
I guess, or maybe he doesn't actually. Maybe his feet are infused into those boots, and that's why he can never take them off, because he is a Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Have we ever seen him without his shoes on?
I don't think so.
That is a good question.
Not yet.
Because whenever we've seen him in his nightgown, it's always from the waist up.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I'm going to have to keep an eye out on that. But Grandpa goes, I'll fix this. The next time it doesn't happen, Herman looks at him, hell no, I'm not doing that again. Then Eddie comes in and he's like, hey, just so you know, I volunteered you for a magician. And everyone looks at him like, why didn't you say this sooner?
And then Grandpa's like, well, what do you got to say about that? And Herman did this thing, like it's the stupidest, like childish, oldest thing that they do ever. But it made me laugh out loud when I did it. He just takes his finger and goes, but he doesn't make the noise. He just does it through his lips.
Not only that, but Grandpa and Marilyn straight up laugh at this.
Yeah.
Like, this is the first time Marilyn's been mean to her uncle.
Yeah. So then we go next to Herman trying to perform a magic act with an egg that he cracks open and puts the yolk right in the hat.
We don't see this yet, so I'm very confused, because all we do is him saying, I'm going to pull a chicken out of my hat. He sticks his hand in and comes out. They're covered in yolk.
Oh, you see him crack the egg first.
Do we?
Yeah.
I only saw it the second time he tries.
On the DVD we did.
Maybe I looked away at that split second, but I was confused.
Yeah, he pops the egg yolk right in there, and he does his stupid wandy thing. And that's when he sticks his hand in, and it's just yolk. And he's like, oh, the chicken's softer than it usually is.
Until I saw him crack the second one and put it in there, I thought it was like, oh, he laid an egg.
Oh. Yeah. And Marilyn and Lily just look like, oh man, like his, because his spirit's kind of getting down right now.
Yeah.
And this whole time is like they're trying to make him, oh, you'll get it, you'll figure it out, you're trying to lift his spirits up a little bit. So he wipes off the egg yolk, and then he goes over to the clock because he realizes he doesn't have any more eggs. And he
dismisses the girls at first.
Yeah.
So they're not in the room to hear this, but he's like, hey, Raven, why don't you give me an egg?
Yeah. And this is when we find out the Raven's name.
Do we?
Charlie. He says, my name's Charlie. Sorry, bub. Because he's like, I'm a dude. I don't have eggs.
Completely missed that.
Yeah. Yep. The Raven's name is Charlie. And my name's Charlie. So I don't know what to tell you, is what he basically says. And then this is where we're going into the kitchen, and they're like trying to get Grandpa to like kind of help Herman. Like, you got to do something to help Herman with the magic.
If it wasn't for him, you'd still be in the old country, living our, less great lives that we have here at Mockingbird Heights and all that.
Which begs to me, I ask so many questions off of that one. Like, if it wasn't for Herman, you'd still be in the old country in a cave, hanging upside down, just eating scraps of whatever blood that come in or whatever. So did Herman did Herman save him after Lily? That he met Lily?
Maybe that's when he went to go, Grandpa fell on hard times and like, hey, come live with us.
Right. But then, so does that mean Grandpa didn't make Herman then? We're starting to.
I mean, he still could have. I mean, they didn't have to be together his entire. I don't have my in-laws with me all the time.
But then you say Grandpa built Herman, then her trying to use this aspect of, well, Herman, without Herman, you wouldn't have been here. But without Grandpa, Herman wouldn't be anywhere. So
that's a good counter argument.
I gotta say, I don't think Grandpa built Herman, at least the first initial time.
Well, we know he was at least present in the room.
Yeah. But Grandpa was being experimented on in his bat form, and that's how he was present in the room.
Maybe. I don't know.
Ooh, so many questions, so many answers.
Yeah, so she convinced him to help.
Yeah, so she gets Grandpa to help. He's like, all right, fine, you're right. And he decides he's gonna help. And is this when we get Herman back into the living room, pulling out the actual chicken now?
Yeah, Lily and Marilyn are back in the living room. Herman cracks another egg, which is the first one I saw, which I was like, oh, that makes so much more sense. And then he sticks his hand in, he pulls out a chicken, and he's super excited. Like, look what I did.
Yeah.
And so then we cut to they're getting prepared for Herman's magic act. And Grandpa's reading this book that's Magic Made Easy and laughing at how horribly written it is. And Lily's like, well, can you do these? And he's like, oh, yeah, I could do these with my eyes closed. These are beginner level crap.
Yeah.
Then they say the line that always makes everything go wrong.
What could go wrong? Yeah.
And the line you never utter.
Just like, I'll be right back. You don't say that shit, man. You just don't.
Unless you're Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No, that's I'll be back. I'll be back. And that was evil Arnold. I don't think good Arnie said that, did he? Man, I
need to rewatch Terminator.
I need to rewatch Terminator 2 now that I think about it. Anyways. Wrong franchise.
Now we're at the talent show.
Yeah.
And where you see a one-man band on the stage. And I actually found this pretty impressive.
It felt like he was like playing an instrument from like Dr. Seuss, like it was just a bunch of different things.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally.
Like he was from Whoville. So then Herman is introduced. He comes out, and the crowd, they don't know what to think at first. They're like, whoa.
Oh, they're scared. Which, how long ago did they think he was a robot?
It's the same. Was it that was the school?
It's the school. Yeah.
Yeah. So who knows?
These people are not bright. So yeah, he takes his hat off, and a pigeon comes out.
Yeah.
No, a pigeon's on his head and flies out. And I'm like, Just before Herman goes out there, he's pretty snarky to Grandpa, where he's like, I'm the magician now in the family.
Yeah.
So just stand back. I don't need you. So I'm wondering, is this Grandpa getting revenge?
Just fucking with him. He's like, oh yeah, well, I'm
nothing implies that there's Grandpa, but Herman is shocked there's a bird on his head. So I'm like, this had to be him, right?
Yeah, there's a big chance of it. But that does push the audience to be like, oh, it's basically like, this is where you get Dad 1, Dad 2, I think it is.
It could be, yeah.
Is where they're talking like, oh, it's one of those like comedy magicians and shit, he's
like the Amazing Jonathan.
Yeah. So we have them do their little back and forth to try and set it up so the audience, so us watching, understand how the audience is changing their mood instantly just by that one little bird being on.
I hope that wasn't too loud. Sorry, listeners.
And then this is where Herman starts off with a couple jokes. Of course, they're probably from his joke book or whatever.
Marilyn is his assistant, if you didn't already say that.
Yeah. No, okay. I didn't say that.
Right.
She walks out.
I was busy sneezing, so.
Yeah. Marilyn walks out as he's doing his first joke, and then he introduces her to come out, and he's waiting for her.
Yeah. Already behind him.
And I'm a part of me's like, okay, that could be like him just being, stupid, or maybe they set that up as like part of the joke magician stuff. Like, oh, okay. It's hard to tell which ones are actual jokes and that are set up and which ones aren't in this.
He starts off with the whole pulling cloth out of his sleeve.
No, he starts with a vase.
Does
he pulls the flowers out of the vase, that she has.
Oh, yeah, you're right here. I skipped right over that.
Yeah. The tapping on the vase to show you there's nothing in it, and then he pulls the flowers out, and then he goes to the whole sleeve, which
Grandpa's just like cloth, which he doesn't need Grandpa's help with that. That is a simple trick. But he ends up pulling off his suspenders at the end, and then makes a joke about Lily's brother Lester.
Lester the molester.
Which I did not expect. That joke needs to go away. I did not expect to be referenced in ever again.
Yeah.
Then Herman accidentally stomps on his hat, and Lily's like, "Oh God, the rabbit!" And Grandpa's like, "Don't worry, I got it."
Right, he's holding it. Though, okay, so whatever magician joke book he has is full of some sexist jokes, like all around, especially when he brings Lily on. But that's another thing. But he's like, oh, but
Herman.
But her brother doesn't need the suspenders because his wife wears the pants in the marriage. I was like, damn. I didn't even know her brother was married though. So
new bit of lore.
He's no longer Lester Molester.
But Grandpa's holding this rabbit. He's holding it by its ears, and I'm like, no, don't do that to the poor animal. Yeah, so that got a reaction out of me. But anyway, so now he sticks an egg on Marilyn's head, and pulls out a gun.
I did not think this was going where it went. I thought this was going to be the one that he did that they weren't prepared for. Honestly,
I'm like, oh God, Marilyn. He looks away from Marilyn, has a mirror, and aims over his shoulder.
Yeah.
He fires, and the gun turns into a bat, or the egg turns into a bat. I'm sorry, and flies away.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What?
That was a big bat too. That was bigger than Igor.
Yeah.
So then this is when they roll out the box, the magic box. And
go ahead.
Go on.
No, I was gonna say he's like, I'm gonna make my wife Lily disappear, which every husband should appreciate.
Right. And then, he goes over and tries to get Lily to come on stage, and she just doesn't want to because this trick was not in the book. So Grandpa doesn't know how to do it. And then this is when they try and explain to him, look, Grandpa's been doing all your magic, dude. Like, period. And then this entire sequence, Lily is like scared, bro. Like, she seems super scared. I'm not sure what she thought was gonna happen.
Well, with Grandpa, Grandpa might attempt to help, and you don't know what's going to happen to her.
I guess so, maybe, yeah.
Best case, she's back in Transylvania.
So he finally gets her over there, and this is like an actual, like, old school magician's trick that they used to do, and Herman pulled it off. Like, he legit pulled this off. But then she fucks with him, dude. And I was pissed off at her about this because I'm like, the whole episode, they were trying to make him feel comfortable and that he could do something. And he actually did this one by himself and everything. It's a cheap magic trick, but he was doing it by himself. He did it. It worked. And then so the magic trick, if you have not watched the episode or don't recall the episode from a while ago,
or haven't seen a magic show.
Yeah. She steps into the box after he shows all 4 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4 sides in the top. And she goes in there and
Are you okay, Myke?
Yeah, I'm just like rethinking things. They close the curtain and she pushes the button, or he pushes the button, sorry, which turns her around in there. So it looks like the box is empty for the audience. Well, usually in the trick here, they would push the button again to make them reappear and they would turn around. Well, Lily just fucks off and is like, nope, peace.
Yeah, she exits out the back.
For no reason.
Well, there might be some reasons with the jokes he was saying, because I got a few of them here.
Okay, go ahead.
Lily, again, she comes out on, he's like, look, she doesn't want to do it because she doesn't want to go somewhere she can't spend money.
I'm sorry. It was funny.
And then he's like, he makes a joke about, I got to bring her back now, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. I noticed something here.
Okay.
Whenever we got like a full body shot of Pat during this scene, she was very careful not to even turn sideways. So I wonder if they were worried about the costume being too risque for TV back then.
I don't think so, because like I Love Lucy showed costumes like that all the time and they were always turning around and shit.
Oh, baby. Lucy came after this show, didn't it?
I want to say it's around the same time, because Lucy was in black and white almost the entire time.
Yeah. It's also depending on the network. Maybe they
1950s was I Love Lucy.
Oh shit, it was before this.
Yeah, way before.
Yeah.
1951 is when it started. It ran for 6 seasons. So
do you know what network it was on? Because this is NBC, wasn't it?
This was NBC, so I want to say CBS was I Love Lucy.
All right, so maybe they had different network standards, because that's also a thing. Like, the standards and practices varied depending on who was in charge at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought it was weird that the only time we ever got any sideways shots of her was when it was from the shoulders up.
I didn't really pay attention. Oh no, they were both CBS.
Oh, were they? Oh.
Yep.
Okay, well, I have no clue then.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, I have no idea. Maybe she just didn't feel comfortable. I don't know. Or maybe she, for the 60s, maybe she had a little bit of a thicker butt and she didn't, the network didn't, people didn't like big butts back then. No, so let's just go with that. The studio was afraid of a big butt. I don't know. Sorry, Pat, if you didn't. Anyways,
it's just a weird observation by me. It was probably nothing.
Yeah, there's a weird observation by you.
All right then. So anyway, Lily sneaks out the back, goes and grabs Grandpa,
and they dip out. Yeah,
don't even tell Eddie.
No, she literally grabs Grandpa without even touching.
Yeah, Eddie's right next to Grandpa, looking on the stage with concern on his face.
Yeah. And then Herman's trying to figure out where she is, and he ends up picking the box up and shaking it over his head, saying, "Lily, Grandpa, I need help, Grandpa."
Which when Grandpa goes missing, shouldn't you be suspicious?
I think it just plays into the aspect of Herman being he's not 100% mentally there, I guess.
Yeah.
And as we learn in the next episode, we'll talk about too, he's more of a child. So
yes,
you don't think about it.
So we cut back to their house where Herman sits.
The box is at their house too.
Yeah, it's in the middle of the living room.
He left it there on stage, but now the box is in their house.
He sits Eddie down on his knee and is like, "So I don't know how to tell you this, but I'm a widow and you're an orphan." We're like, well, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if that works. Can you be an orphan with only one parent missing? Is he saying he's going to abandon Eddie?
I mean, if you want to get real about it, like technical, he would still be an orphan. Both of his parents are dead.
All right, that's fair. That's a fair argument. They've stated this fact many times, so yeah. All right. So as he's telling Eddie this, his back is towards the doorway frame, and Grandpa and Lily sneak into the room. Well, Lily goes into the box. Grandpa goes and talks to him. He's like, "Hey, what happened?"
Yep.
And he's like, "Well, here's what I did. I went over. I did my trick. I hit the button, and she was gone." He opens the curtains, and there she is. And I don't know what to do. And then it hits him that she's in the box.
Yeah.
And this honestly was the happiest I have, like, even compared to when he was dancing earlier, the happiest he is, honest to God, looked on the show. And he's like, I'm never going to do magic again, ever. And then he ruins the moment by saying he didn't, Lily's name was on all the bath towels, so he'd have to marry someone with the name Lily if she ever went away.
It's kind of like today's equivalent of, like, if I get your name tattooed on me, I have to redate somebody with the same name. Like, what the hell are you talking about?
And the Undertaker did, and he had Sarah written on his neck.
He just covered it up.
Yeah, that's just what you do.
Oh man, yeah. But the whole thing with this one, honestly, because we play that scene out and then they end it, of course, right there.
Yeah, they end it right there with that comment.
With that whole comment, with her eyes like looking up at him, like, did you just say that for real? Like,
we just had a genuinely sweet moment where he's like, I don't know what I'd do without you.
Right.
And they undercut.
Yeah, so it was nice episode. The thing though with the whole, like, her messing with him after the fact, like, I kind of get the whole point of, he was being a misogynist dick again, like, but
he started to get that way. Yeah,
but I think the only reason he was doing those jokes is because they were in that book. Those because remember, Grandpa even says this book has all these dumb jokes in it and stuff like that. So I think he was playing on those jokes. It wasn't necessarily like him just spouting it like off the cuff or anything like that. I think they were like memorized jokes and stuff.
I think he also is one of those people that just can't help himself but tell distasteful jokes in public.
Oh, like me. Gotcha.
Because remember when they were stealing him, was it last week when they thought he was a mummy? He was going to tell a mother-in-law joke.
Yeah. Maybe it's just I'm not even going to say just a guy thing because I know plenty of girls that do the same thing. So I can't even. But yeah, I get it. Like, I understand, like, from that aspect of why she would just go and screw with him. But like, the whole setup to the episode was like they were doing it because they wanted him to feel like he could do this magic, like do something. That he was talented at something. Even though he's been a professional wrestler, a basketball player, and a football player, and a baseball player. Wait, has he been a football player yet?
No, not yet.
Okay. No, it was
almost.
Almost. That's right.
Yeah.
Almost. So yeah, like he's all these professional athletic things so far, but you know, he's just not talented in anything else, I guess. Even though he supports the household and everything. So by burying dead people, I think we'll figure that part out later. All right. I enjoyed this episode for myself for sure.
Yeah, no, this was a lot of fun. I enjoyed this one.
And I like that we got a little bit more new information on some of the characters, like because of the Raven, which we see the Raven pop up in the next episode that we're about to talk about. Again, just for a little short scene. So it's like they wanted to kind of character build the Raven up for at least the next couple episodes or so.
And it's real good to hear Bob Haskins back.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but yeah, remember that name, Charlie, for the Raven, which is also Herman's brother, right? Name?
I think so.
Yeah. So what did you think of this episode, dude?
Yeah, like I was saying, I had a lot of fun with it. I wouldn't say it's one of my favorites, but it's definitely top middle.
Yeah.
Like, just a real fun one. Just to see the look of pure happiness on Herman's face, both with the dancing and when Lily comes back.
And to be able to see Herman, or Fred, I should say, be able to maneuver differently than he usually does, for sure, was cool to see. And I also like, you know, there were specific comedy beats to this episode that I get, like some of them aren't very funny, but they set it up to be a specific beat for this episode, which was really cool to see, as opposed to most of them are just like, oh, here's a we're dead joke. Like they added in, they're starting to add in a few more things. And the communist thing kind of threw me real quick. I was like, wait, what? I literally
I didn't expect that
to make sure I heard him right. I was like, did he say that? But then I'm like, oh yeah, 60s. So gotcha. So before we dive into the next episode,
well, I got some trivia.
Okay, you got trivia for me. Give me that.
So there was a couple of name drops this episode. Herman mentions the philosopher Steve Allen, who is a radio and television personality, musician, composer, actor, comedian, and writer. And in 1954, he was the first host of The Tonight Show. Okay. Which was the very first late night talk show for, just helping people understand who this person was that the Herman talks about. The other one was Grandpa. He I don't know what happens to me, man. We get started with these and my ability to talk just slowly goes downhill. So Grandpa compares Herman to Bobby Darin. I got there. He recorded his first million selling single. That is a weird way to put this. I just copy and pasted this week. I didn't put it in my own words. I do not have a lot of time lately. But his first single was called Splish Splash in 1958. And in 1962, he won the Golden Globe Award for his first film, Come September, co-starring his wife, Sandra Dee. And my last note here is Lily mentions how Grandpa has become more kind and noble since he started reading Maryworth. Maryworth was an American pioneering newspaper, soap opera style comic strip that has had an 8-decade run from 1938. The title character is known for offering humble common sense.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, listeners, I stumbled through all of that.
All right. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay. So real quick, last week I did a little bio thing that we found for Herman Munster. I decided I'm going to do these in between the episodes. How about that? To give a little break. So this week we're going to do Lily Munster. We've already done the person, Yvonne. So this week we are going to do Lily Munster. And here is her short little bio that I found on this website. It says, Lily Dracula Munster was born in Transylvania, and she gets a brother called Lester and an unnamed sister. So I wonder why they say she gets a brother, but we'll discuss that eventually, I'm sure. It'll come up. To estimate her age is very difficult. She herself gives different personal data, which are to handle with caution. It is the fact that she has to be about 137 years old at least. Her appearance differs considerably from her husband with the very vampire-like looks, the deathly pale complexion, and the silvery streaks in the hair. I don't know what this word is. S-I-E? Yeah. Silvery hair streaks, the hair sprays, hair sigh sprays. That's what it says. So I'm not sure what SIE is. A mysterious attraction. Her favorite scent is Chanel number 13. Lily pursues a full-time job as a housewife. In addition, she indulges in palmistry, which is palm reading for people who don't know. One of her standout characteristics is the inexhaustible sacrifice for her husband and family.
So it is to sink, fall, or drop, and can be used as a verb to mean swoon, faint, or fall.
Okay. For sigh. Okay.
Yep.
Julio. Well, that
is a new one for me as well.
Yeah. That's Lily Munster's little bio that this website has. So don't worry, there's not many left of these. It's only Grandpa, Marilyn, and Eddie. So, all right.
They're interesting. It's because they have little tidbits, that we've kind of plucked apart from each episode, but it's nice to have them in a condensed.
Right. Maybe
it's interesting
when we're done. It's
interesting.
Oh, go on.
I was gonna say it's interesting that her sister never gets name dropped.
Yeah. I found it interesting as that bio there says unnamed, and it clearly is after all of this stuff. Maybe Rob Zombie will give her sister a name.
And maybe we'll finally see Marilyn's mom if she's even in the movie, which we still don't have a casting.
Okay, chill. Dang.
I'm getting real annoyed. Like, where's the other family members?
Don't we have a casting on Marilyn already? Oh, they do not. Okay.
Still just Herman, Lily, and Grandpa.
You say that now, and then this episode is going to drop, and she's going to be released.
I checked. I checked at the time of recording. I have not missed any new casting news.
Okay. All right. So let's dive into episode 35, dude.
I double checked this week. All right. Season 1, episode 35, Herman's Happy Valley, aired May 20th, 1965. Written by Dick Conway, and I'm sure the other two were involved too. I didn't
see them.
I didn't look at outside sources for this one. And directed by Ezra Stone. I ran out of time, dude. I'm sorry.
Okay. You got any other facts for us?
Or 3 guests this episode.
Awesome.
John Hoyt as Bernie Walters, who was previously in The Sleeping Cutie as George Spelvin. We have Bartlett Robinson as Mr. Curtis, who will go on to play Frank Caldwell on Mona McCluskey, which is a show I'm not familiar with, but he had a major role in that show. Richard Reeves as Gil Craig. He was previously on Autumn Crocus and was the first police officer on that episode. So that's 2 reoccurring characters, and they happen to be our 2 antagonists this episode.
They're not reoccurring characters, reoccurring actors.
Sorry. They are two actors returning as new characters.
Yeah. Which, I mean, back then they did a lot with different shows and stuff. I don't know how many times.
Shockingly, not that frequently with this one.
No. Star Trek used to do it a lot, but they also had the option of more makeup and stuff like that. So
yeah,
sci-fi a little better.
Power Rangers also did that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And that's how a lot of them get around the union. They come back and do voices and don't get credited for it. Heck, Bryan Cranston, one of his early roles was voicing a character on that show.
He's voiced several.
Yeah.
And then they named Billy after him.
Yep, because he was real good friends with Saban.
Yeah. And then he got to play Zordon in the horrible. And let's not.
It's not that horrible, but we're getting off topic.
Anyway,
the synopsis.
Episode 35, Herman's Happy Valley, as Tivis said, May 20th, 1965. Herman purchases 10 acres in Happy Holiday Valley through a magazine ad. It turns out to be a patch of wasteland in a broken down ghost town, so the Munsters absolutely adore it. What the synopsis does not say, and I'm going to say like I'm reading it, is this was also another scam out of a back of a magazine that Herman fell for.
He falls for those often.
But it was a scam only for somebody who wouldn't actually enjoy it, because they actually enjoy it, as the synopsis even says, and everything else. So let's dive into this and go in there.
From the top then. Herman comes. Sorry, you let's say your arm and like what happened? Herman comes in from work and calls everyone to the living room. Lily and Marilyn come in, and Lily remarks why do you look so happy, Herman?
Yeah.
He's like, it was a monumental day at work.
Which means there's lots of dead people.
Yeah. And this is where I got a bit confused, because I thought this was like a reward for being a hard worker. But then they go on to say it was from a jiu-jitsu magazine. But Grandpa comes out of the dungeon and he's like, hey, what do you want? I was helping Eddie fix his train. And then you just hear like an actual train whistle coming through the floor itself. So, do they have their own underground railroad now?
Maybe.
Like a subway system? Is that what Spot gets into when we heard him in the sewers?
Ooh, that would be kind of cool though. Yeah, because I'm still confused as to how the hell he got into the sewer system.
Me too. Herman says he got a nice place to go on retreat to Happy Holiday Valley. It took me like 3 times of them saying it to finally understand what they were saying.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I was having trouble. Like, what valley? What? So he's like, Grandpa's like, yeah, it sounds like a garbage fire. So Herman reads off everything that's in it, and Grandpa's like, all right, yeah, sure, let's go do this. This sounds fun.
Right. And this is like after, does he tell them how much it was? I forget.
I don't think it has come up yet.
Okay. It comes up when the other people talk about it, I think.
Yeah, actually, I don't know if he says how much he spent.
Well, they do. They say that he paid $2,000 for it, $2,000.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they say that he spent $2,000 for 10 acres, which from 1965 to 2022 equates to $15,850.67. It's not bad for 10 acres in California.
Yeah, for a plot of land.
In California, for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
I need to have a time machine and go back with $2,000 and buy some land.
So the family's all getting ready, and the Raven comes out. He's got some sunglasses on. He's like, "Hey, I'm ready for vacation." And Lily's like, "No, you're not coming."
He's all like about the girls. He's like,
yeah.
And then Lily's like, when is he going to get over the girls? And he pops back out and he's like, nevermore.
Yeah. Back to the Edgar Allan Poe references.
Someone just hates Poe.
Yeah. No, I have not been quiet about that. Very vocal. Eddie says goodbye to Spot and asks if they should leave him in the garage. And Lily's like, no, last time we did that, he drank all the gasoline.
And melted all the, what was it? Not the iron, the cast iron.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cast iron, which that takes a lot of heat, by the way.
We know now they have a garage, though, which makes sense because their cars aren't just sitting out on the road.
Yeah. Car. They only have one right now.
No, they have the old one. We've still seen that every now and then. What's that?
I thought they traded it.
I don't think so, because we've seen them driving it a couple times still.
Okay. Well, then Grandpa trots down and they ask him if he's ready. And he opens up his bag and it makes a weird noise. And I'm like, what the hell is in your bag? He asks his
bag if it's ready and it just screams in response.
Yeah, I'm like, what is in there?
Is that his snack?
It's one of his ex-wives.
Is this his, a D&D reference here, but is this a bag of holding that he just stuffed someone inside? For reference, that's a bag it's been modified by magic to have a sort of parallel dimension inside. So it's like a TARDIS, bigger on the inside.
Okay. And then they're looking for Herman, and then they hold on this wall for a long time that Herman's talking through. I thought he was going to bust through it. But no, it turns out it was the wall where the telephone.
Yeah. Why is he inside the box? Also,
I don't know. Maybe he wants privacy.
He's on the phone with the real estate company. Why does the real estate company need to know when you're going on vacation? Is that a thing? Did that used to be a thing?
I could see if it was like a what were those things, those scams where that you paid like monthly to have it, like the vacation places? You know what I'm talking about?
Like oh my god, I'm blanking on the word now. Timeshare, yes. Yeah.
Like if it was a timeshare, I could understand that, but this was like they actually own the land. So
yeah,
as long as they have the deed, it shouldn't freaking matter. But maybe they were calling them. Maybe he was calling to make sure that he had the deed or something. I don't know. Who knows? I'm curious how these guys got a hold of all that property. Like, how much did they pay for all of it? If they're scamming people,
probably dirt cheap.
if they're selling like 10 acres for $2,000 at that time period, like how much did they pay for the entire thing? Like, yeah, it's a ghost town, but I mean, that's property's property. In the 60s, the Manson family should have bought that.
Oh boy. I didn't think they owned property. I think they just went places.
They lived on their ranch. They didn't own it. The other guy did.
Yeah. So yeah, I was just confused why he's calling the real estate. Hey, yeah, we're going on vacation. Yeah, bye.
It is kind of a question of like, why are you calling? But yeah, I'm not sure, because it does kind of get treated like a timeshare at that point.
Yeah. But, listeners, if you have any thoughts on this, I would love to know, because this one that stumped me.
They needed it to set up the episode, Tivis. God.
But he wasn't even calling the people he bought it from.
Yeah, those were the people he bought it from.
Was it?
Yeah. Those were the guys they bought it from, because they even say it's that Munster character that we scammed $2,000 out of.
Oh, okay. That went way over my head. I didn't realize that this is a rarity then, if we're getting like simultaneous scenes, different perspectives.
Yeah. Yeah, because it was Herman's on the phone with them, and then the guy's like, well, who is it? And that's when the guy's telling the other scammer there, the bigger guy, that it's the Munsters, or and then he's saying, oh, you want to visit the property? When? Today? And then they like hang up instantly and like get their whole room
pack up their whole office into one briefcase.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of like the old school like potion people that would sell you like, oh, put this on your hair, it's manure, it'll make your hair grow.
The traveling snake oil salesman.
Yeah. A lot of things that they end up doing in this show start to remind me of Pete's Dragon, the original Pete's Dragon, not the remake one that they did. But yeah. But I mean, it's because it's more olden time stuff. Yeah. Anyways.
I could see that. Yeah. It's,
they're always getting scammed though by like these Scooby-Doo people. Like they're like all Scooby-Doo villains.
They really are. Like we got the Addams Family crossing over Scooby-Doo, which I get because they're both Warner owned, but I would love for them to meet the Munsters just once.
Yeah.
I mean, we got Scooby and Current. Well, that's also Warner Brothers. They met WWE. That's not Warner Brothers.
No, that's Vince wanting more money. That's all that.
Yeah. I don't know. When's the AEW Scooby-Doo coming out?
Another show.
So the family arrives at what turns out to be, it looks like a deserted mining town in the Old West.
Mm-hmm.
They're so happy it's better than advertised.
Yeah. It looks like it was probably like an older Western site, like set, and they'd like, set it up or something, decorated it so that they could use it for like the ghost town or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Actually, I would, if I was the one who bought that place for $2,000, I'd be like, hell yeah, dude, this is awesome. Like, I'd also be shooting movies there and not living there though.
Yeah. Yeah. It was pretty, it's one of those places that'd be neat to visit, but I definitely wouldn't want to own. But we cut back to the abandoned scammers building or wherever they had their setup, as they're walking back in with a government agent, and they start putting everything back in place. Yeah. And he's like, so we want to build a missile silo here. We'll give you $50,000 for all 10 acres or for all of the land.
For all of the land. But so I was confused. Is their building that they're in there? That's not in Happy Valley.
Nope.
So why the hell were they like trying to just get out of town? So
because as soon as they thought the family was going to realize they had been had and go looking for him.
I guess. Yeah. Did you notice one of the pictures that they put on the wall is Abraham Lincoln for some reason?
Yeah.
So like,
I think it's just stock photos.
Like, well, they had like a certificate, Abraham Lincoln, and then something else. I couldn't tell what the other thing was. Maybe a map or something.
I think it's to make them more trustworthy. Like, hey, look, we're a certified business. We like America. But I did the conversion. 50,000 today in 2002, 446,266 with 67 cents.
Okay, first I'm going to correct you. It's 2022, not 2002.
You're correct.
You said. You're 20 years off. But yes, the conversion is still the same.
You are correct. Cats are fighting. They realize hey, we got to go get this land back from these idiots.
Yeah.
They'll be wanting to sell like crazy by now. So they head out to go get the land back. Meanwhile, the family, Herman's relaxing with Eddie and Grandpa as they're fishing in a dried up creek.
Mm-hmm.
Grandpa gets a bite and pulls out a dead fish skeleton.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, sure. Why not? Herman's getting real upset that he's not getting any bite. He's like worried Grandpa's going to outdo him, which remember, last time they went on vacation, he caught a ton of stuff.
Yep.
All food off of other campers.
And, yeah. Bacon, eggs. Well, he was trying to catch eggs, but yeah.
Yeah. So he gets ready to cast and he takes off the ladies' room door.
Is that what that was?
Yep. It was the ladies' room door. And he's like, oh no, I damaged a recreational facility. Which, if you bought the land, aren't they just yours now?
Well, they own 10 acres in that area. They don't necessarily own all those buildings and stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's true. They didn't say what 10 acres they own.
Right.
That's just
because Happy Valley was supposed to be that center area. They own 10 acres there, but all these amenities are also included with it. That's what it was. That's why it seemed more like a timeshare thing to me than anything, but yeah, I can get it.
So at this point, the scammers show up.
Yep, back at the saloon or wherever.
Old timey saloon.
And Marilyn's there, and they're like, "Hey, we want to, buy this shit back." And Lily comes over, and she's like, has this giant spoon that scares the shit out of them. They thought they were gonna get clobbered over the head.
She turns out she's making oxtail soup.
Yeah. And then they were like, "Hey, we want to, we thought we'd buy the property back from you." And she's like, "Oh no, we're not interested." And then they're like, "Oh, what if we give you $4,000?" And she's like, "Oh no, my husband would never sell regardless of the price," basically. So, and then they were like, "All right, well, fine, thank you." And they actually do put on a decent show of like, they are like, "Okay, we understand, cool." They're not like some of the scammers we've had in the past on the show where they're like really pushy or pulling out guns and about to shoot them or something like the insurance guys were trying to do, the Herman, where they were trying to just shoot him at the end. But yeah, so these guys are actually have their game a little bit more cleaned up, I think.
Yeah, they're pretty respectable.
Yeah, and I don't think they're necessarily like they scammed them because they lied to them about the amenities and shit. But other than that, I mean, they still got 10 acres, dude. Like, it's not like they sold them property that didn't exist.
Yeah. But they think that because they're not willing to sell back, the guy's like, well, clearly she heard about the government deal and they're trying to undercut them. Yeah. So they're like, hey, how about double?
$4,000. Yeah.
Nah. It's so hard to find good vacation spots since Devil Island closed. Go away.
Yeah. That's when they get a weird look on their face, and then they're like, all right, well, thank you. And they walk out. And the guy's like, well, what's your plan? Like, and he's like, well, it's a ghost town. Let's give them ghosts.
Which that's just part of the appeal.
Right.
I would just burn it to the ground, but that's
oh, why, man? Don't be shady like that. Be happy in the valley.
Hey, they can't stay there if there's nowhere to stay.
Yeah. So then
that's my line of thinking.
That's a bad line of thinking.
Well, if I'm a scammer, I'm already thinking in bad lines of things.
Yeah, I guess so. So then we go back in and Grandpa's hanging up his fish skeleton.
Yeah, that was some nice payoff with that, actually. I didn't.
And yeah. And then they're like, oh, well, then this is where I was talking about in the last episode where Herman's more of a child. Like, she's like, hey, Eddie, you need to go to bed. Stop reading the comics. And you see Eddie reading comics to Herman. He finishes up and he's like, well, one more. And then he's like, no, Pop, I got to go to bed. And Herman goes, Lily, one more. And she's like, no. And he gets an attitude like a little kid would. And then Eddie tries to take his cowboy hat back from his dad. And he's like, nope, I'm still using it. I was just like, wow, dude.
Yeah. This kind of reinforces my theory from months ago when he was reading that joke book for like a month and only got like 4 pages. Herman is terrible at reading.
Yeah. That's probably, because Eddie was reading to him and stuff. And again, I attribute it to him being like the Frankenstein monster type thing. Like, they're not necessarily 100% there in the brain. It's not developed even after 150 years.
Just call him a Frankenstein. He's a Frankenstein. People get over this whole monster thing. Frankenstein created him. He's Frankenstein's son. He's a Frankenstein.
He is Munster. So no.
This one is Munster. The other one is just Frankenstein.
So this one is Munster. But to describe what he looks like, a Frankenstein's monster.
I'm not gonna go on a tirade, but that just it annoys me so much. It doesn't matter, people. Yeah, so Herman like grabs Eddie's toy pistols and starts walking around doing cool tricks.
Yeah.
Lily's like, will you go outside and get some firewood? So he goes out. He comes back in. He starts doing some tricks, and the swinging door comes back and knocks him down. And Lily's like, get the firewood.
and the sad thing is, like, I've never seen Herman fall down so easily.
Herman tries to do this like spinning thing and put the guns in the holster, and I'm like,
yeah.
I'm wondering, was this improv? Because it looks like Fred was really trying to do this trick.
His fingers are probably too big for the guns too. That's the big issue.
Yeah, because they're a child's toy.
Yeah. So then he goes outside and he ends up breaking a building. He just sees a little cottage thing and just smashes it into pieces and like, I found the wood. Found some wood.
How'd you get it?
I knocked the building down. I hope nobody was in it.
Yeah, everyone but Grandpa is pretty happy to get this fire going too. And Grandpa's like, I remember sitting around like this, and well, okay, this comes a little later, but I'm gonna go into it anyway. I remember sitting around like this and reminiscing about family that you haven't seen for centuries, and having them stop by.
Yeah.
Which that talk happens after Herman goes to bed, but
which is like almost right after he brings in the firewood.
Just before he goes to bed, though, he asks, he's like, hey, what were those men here for? And Lily's like, oh, they wanted to buy back the land. Herman goes, Lily says, they must know it's a paradise and regret selling it to us.
Yeah. But I mean, they still own how much more of it? Mm-hmm. The government could just go in and buy their 10 acres for another 50,000.
The government could just take it from them for nothing.
Yeah.
That's a legal thing they can do.
So then we get them pulling up, and they notice the Big Billy was hanged on June 6th in 1872 at this specific spot. And the guy's like, I've heard that he comes back every year.
Which there's a noose hanging from the tree, and Grandpa actually points it out when they first arrive. It's like, hey, look, recreational activities.
Yeah. And as soon as these guys pulled up and they read the sign and said Big Billy, I knew exactly where this whole gag was going to go. You know, you had to have, anybody had to have, because then Herman goes to bed. And then
on his way to bed, I looked away for a second, but I looked back and there's a bunch of glass breaking. Did he break another mirror in this episode?
So he yawned and a bunch of glass containers fell over, broke, and then the mirror.
Okay, that's what happened. All right.
And then he breaks a stairwell going up the stairs and stuff like that.
He should not be in this building.
I can tell you right now, though, I was very impressed because for the last year or so, not even a year yet, I've been remodeling a house. This building was in better shape than the house that I remodeled. And it makes
good Lord. No wonder you kept hurting yourself.
So just thought I'd toss that out there.
That's terrifying, dude. Holy shit.
So this is where we have the scene where you were talking about, Grandpa was talking about, I miss reminiscing with old friends and stuff, and they hear knocking at the door. Well, knocking on some wood, because the guys are just out there
on the wall,
slowly just hitting the beams with a piece of wood.
Yeah,
like that's supposed to scare them or something. Like there's
what is?
Oh, go on.
What is Grandpa? Who does Grandpa think it is?
It's his cousin. I forget the cousin's name.
I got the second one, but I didn't hear the first one.
It's the same. I
didn't rewind.
It's the same one.
It's the same. Oh, cousin Humphrey. Then
yeah.
It's like, nah. I don't want to talk to him.
So
they have some bad blood apparently.
And then they dip off, and then they turn the music on. They have like a dime or something to turn the piano that's supposed to play by itself on, to try and scare them with that. And then Grandpa gets pissed off and tells them to go away. And the piano, of course, continues on playing. And so Grandpa like blows the piano up, basically. I was like, what is going on?
I said, Humphrey, get out of here. No one likes you.
Yeah. And then they're like, screw it. We're just going to bed.
Yeah. The scammers are like, what? Why are they not being scared by this?
Yeah.
Like, why are they ignoring us?
And then they finally were like, all right, well, they're going to bed, so let's do this. And he pulls out these costumes, and one's like a whole white robe, which I thought I was like, wait, chill out with the white robe thing in the 60s, guys. Come on. And then they pull out like a skeleton mask thing too.
Which this kind of reminded me the one guy's skeleton outfit. It reminded me of the later Scooby-Doo seasons with the Scooby-Doo movies where they had special guests, and it was I think one of the very first ones where they meet Batman and Robin with I think it's Joker and Penguin are dressed up in these skeleton outfits, scaring people for no reason.
Okay.
But
the Adam West Batman one, when it was actually Adam West meeting them.
I think it wasn't it? It's been a long time since I've seen these ones.
I got that one. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, that costume really reminded me of that.
Okay. Yeah. No, this whole episode kind of reminded me of like a Scooby-Doo villain type thing, especially because
really
they pulled the costumes out. Yeah. Like the haunted place and all this and that, and they're trying to scare people away so that they can make more money off of the property. It's a this is a Scooby-Doo episode. Was Scooby-Doo around before the 65?
I think Scooby-Doo came after the one with the the Batman episode was definitely after.
Okay.
Because I believe the original Scooby-Doo was late 70s.
Okay. Let's see here.
And it recycled the same soundtrack from the Addams Family, which is So weird.
Yeah. 1969.
Oh, okay, late 60s then. Because I know the final, the third season. I'm sorry, we're a bit off topic here, but the final season of the original Scooby-Doo show came way later, like even after some spinoffs had begun.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know why they decided to do it that way. They could have just lumped it in with those new shows, but they didn't.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's dive back into this real quick. So they're broken. They broke in with the costumes on.
Yeah, and they can't see, so they're tripping over everything.
Yeah. And Lily hears them, and then Herman gets up, ends up putting on the cowboy outfit. Again, the gun holster and the cowboy hat. He walks into the hallway and sees them and starts talking to them because he thinks that they're, a skeleton and a ghost.
Yeah, he's like, oh, more guests.
And they dip out running fast. Like they fly out, basically grabbing the chandeliers, gliding across. And the dude in the ghost costume, he's just falling over everything.
I swear one of them just zooms out the damn window.
Yeah, he slides on the bar top and just whoo.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense because it looked, from the angle I saw, it just looked like he flew.
Yeah, no, he like jumped onto the bar top and slid right out. And then Herman's like, oh, they just took off. I guess they didn't want to be here anymore. And
so before Herman goes out to check, he like rolls over to go to sleep, and Lily's like, will you get out there? I swear to you, I heard him reference, he's like, oh, it's a couple of atoms. Did they reference the other show in this episode?
I don't think so.
I need to go back and listen, but I swear they did. Unless that's an old saying that I'm not familiar with.
I don't know.
Yeah, I as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. So they book it out of there.
Yeah.
And Herman's like, oh, Lily comes down to see what all the commotion's about. And Herman's like, oh, there's another couple of guests. They took off. That's a shame. They look like a couple of fun people.
Yeah. And then we go from there, and we're back at the house now, the Munster mansion. And they're discussing, what's going on. Eddie wants to go back. He wants to know when we're going back.
Can we go back next weekend?
Yeah. And he's like, it's the only place that we've gone to that felt like home. And that's when we find out that Herman sold the property back.
And do you have the reason?
I did not write the reasoning down.
I did.
Go ahead.
He sold it for a good cause. A missile silo that will one day solve everyone's problems by blowing up the world. Oh boy.
And then we get a little gag going, which I enjoyed this little one where he's like, oh, well, there's nothing beats home. Everything's at home, basically. And lightning strikes the house.
Lights it on fire again.
Lights it on fire. And what is it? Spot roars, blows fire out. And then Grandpa blows up, going right through the ceiling, basically. And then the house catches on fire again with another lightning bolt. Beams fall down, and Raven, Charlie the Raven, pops out and gives his little quirky remark. And then that's how we end the show. That's how we end this episode. So,
this house is a death trap.
Oh yeah, a house that should not be. Anyways. Thoughts on this episode, dude?
I loved this episode. Like, this might be one of my favorites.
Okay.
Like you said, the whole Scooby-Doo type feel, the references, just them talking about sitting around together, chatting with family. It reminded me back when we used to go camping with all of our family, and they would sit around playing poker. And, my sister and I would be at the fire staring at it with our cousins. Mm-hmm. It's just I got reminiscent memories. I got family vibes. I got Scooby-Doo. This episode had so much for me.
Yeah. It was definitely one of those ones where I was like, oh, it kept me entertained, and at the same time, it was like, oh, this is like Scooby-Doo. Of course, this was before Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
Which, like, because I think we even touched on that when they did the whole running through the doors gag,
and like episode 2 or 3.
Yeah. So, there's no way you can say that Scooby-Doo didn't at least take
influence
some of this. Yeah, for sure. Because I know they didn't do a lot of these different gags or story arcs and stuff with the Addams family.
No,
so they didn't touch.
Not from the ones I've seen, at least.
Right. So this was definitely kind of an influence on there for sure. I mean, Scooby-Doo even did freaking Frankenstein. Monster. Frankenstein's monster. Just to annoy Tivis.
I hate you.
All right. Yeah, I love the episode. And do you got any trivia for us for this episode?
I do. I have 2 pieces of trivia and 2 goofs.
Okay.
All right. So the first one, while dreaming, Herman tells Captain Kangaroo that he'll brush his teeth every day. Captain Kangaroo was a reference to an entire program that takes place in and around a treehouse or the captain's place. And it was based on the warm relationship between grandparents and children. It starred Robert Keyshawn, and it ran for 38 seasons.
Nice.
Grandpa makes a crack at Lily for marrying Henry Youngman. Youngman was famous for telling simple one-liners, occasionally with interludes of violins playing. He was known for having worked almost every day for over 70 years without vacations or other breaks, which don't do that, people. Take time off. It's not worth it. So the first mistake in the very first scene of the episode, Lily walks in. She's not wearing her iconic necklace, but in the same sequence, after a cut to Grandpa, the necklace is around her neck. So little spliced together scene. And then when they leave the house for Happy Valley, Lily's dress has the usual trimming around it, around her neckline and waist. And as she gets out of the car later, her dress detail is that of a simple line and clearly not the same costume. And the necklace is once again gone, but back again while cooking dinner.
Huh.
So I didn't notice these, but these are ones that other people have noticed.
They do short like clips.
We're children
for these scenes. You're the one that laughed, not me.
You laughed too, don't you?
I stopped myself from laughing.
No, it's in audio. I heard it.
So they do a lot of like clips where they're like short little things so they can get away with more accidents like that, I guess, with this show for sure.
Yeah.
So I am always curious though with Herman, does Fred have to wear the boots all the time if they're not doing full body shots? Or do you think they just have him on the apple boxes next to people when they're not doing like foot shots? Just
That's a good question. Add that to the list of things we can ask Butch when we eventually get him on here, because we will have him on here. I'm determined
to get him on.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a bit difficult since he's probably living in California, but we're East Coast.
You'll just have to take a day off from work so we can get him on.
Yeah. I'll have to tell the wife I need to do, spend time to talk to an awesome celebrity. So
there you go. Awesome. Well, next week we finally will get the Dragula I know this. I have not watched the
really?
episode yet, but I know the episode by name. So next week we will be tackling Hot Rod Herman, and the Herman's Rays, episode 36 and 37.
God, you remembered that bit I started a couple weeks ago because I completely forgot.
But yeah, so Hot Rod Herman is the first appearance of the Dragula car. So,
I am excited.
Yep.
All right, that sounds like it's gonna be another good week, dude. I keep saying it, but I'm so happy we started this.
What's that?
The show. Like I am enjoying the hell out of it.
Yeah. So I just shit. I want to double check and make sure that I did not just screw up. Yeah, Hot Rod Herman. Okay.
Yeah, you're right. I just double checked you and Herman's Race.
Yeah. So yeah, I love doing the show with you, dude. And I can't wait to get to next week's episode. So we only have 2 episodes of our show left. 3 actual episodes of this season to watch, for of season 1 of the Munsters to watch for everybody out there. So if you need to catch up, go ahead and catch up for sure. And then that will be episode 8 or episode 19, sorry, of the MUNSTERCAST will be episodes 36 and 37
of the Munsters.
And then episode 38 we will be doing by itself with a couple extra things about our thoughts on the season, probably some other crap like that. That will be episode 20 for our show. And then for episode 21 to finalize season 1 of the MUNSTERCAST, we will be going back and doing the pilot episode, and we have a special guest coming on with us. Nobody's super famous, so don't get too excited or anything like that. Just a good friend of both of ours and another fan of the Munsters. So we hope that everybody enjoys that episode. I hope everyone that has been enjoying this whole first run of the MUNSTERCAST with us. And we hope that you continue on even after we're done with the Munsters 1964-65 series. So yeah. Any final words from you, Tivis?
Batman's out this week. Go watch Robot Bat and Bat.
Bat and Bat and Bat. Awesome. All right. I guess with that said, everybody, we will catch you next time as we take another stroll down 1313 Mockingbird Lane.
The lesson I want you to learn is it doesn't matter what you look like. You can be tall or short, or fat or thin, or ugly, or handsome, like your father. Or you can be black or yellow or white. It doesn't matter. What does matter is the size of your heart and the strength of your character.